Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Accelerate Your Performance podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jana Pilcher, founder and president of Studer Education. Every leader wants to lead an organization that is tight with behaviors, expectations, and attitudes. We want to lead people who know what is expected of them and are living those expectations to their greatest potential and with the right attitude. When this happens, the workplace culture and performance are strong. Standards of excellence help build this scenario. Standards of excellence operationalize organizational values and align employee behaviors with these values. Quite simply, they help employees know what right looks like. And leaders must go first with the standards of excellence, making the standards walk the halls. Kelly Krostag, my guest today, has been willing to go first in her organization with standards of excellence, and she has seen the positive results of using standards of excellence in her department. Kelly has been an educator for 37 years, and she now serves as the Escambia County Public Schools Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. After beginning her career as a high school teacher of English language arts and a debate mock trial coach, she moved on to hold other positions in Escambia County, including language arts specialist, coordinator of employee services, chief negotiator, labor relations, and director of human resources. In July of 2023, she became the assistant superintendent of human resources. Kelly's career has allowed her to enjoy being the coach of many outstanding students, some of whom ranked nationally and others who were state and debate and mock trial champions. She was also selected as Teacher of the Year and ELA Teacher of the Year, and she has served as the president of the Florida Educational Negotiators. She worked with a team of Escambia County School District educators on the development of nationally recognized START program to grow our teachers new to the profession, and was the chairperson for the development of the Escambia County's first standards of behaviors and pillars in 2009. Kelly is a strong asset in the school district for my hometown, and I welcome her to the show today. It's with great pleasure that I welcome Kelly Krostag to our show today. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you.
It's going to be a good conversation. I've been looking forward to this. So let's start with you as the Escambia County School District. You set that goal of developing your standards of excellence, and you led the way, Kelly, as usual. As the division lead in human resources, you developed the district's first set of standards. So talk a little bit about how you did that with your HR team and, how you built the transparency and employee buy-in and engagement in that process.
Okay. So the first thing we did was I went to the data that we have from the year before, from your survey, from the survey we do with Studer Education. And I didn't have enough scores to have a score. So, okay, I know I've got a problem, right? I know nobody's interested. I've got to get this back on track. I actually, I've been involved in this process in different ways since 2008, 9. Absolutely. And I remember we did this, the standards, as we called them back then, of behavior. Mm-hmm. And we rolled that out. And I was the chair of that as a teacher. So I just decided this is the way I'm going to do it. So what we ended up doing is I got them in a room and I talked to them about the importance of knowing where they stand and that we need to try to make our goal that the employees in the district feel like we are responsive to them. And we're going to start that with our standards of excellence. And how I did it was I took several examples out of your book. I don't remember which book, or I use all of them, but there were examples from different counties. So I ran those off for them to look at. I had them on their computers, but they came in with paper. So I just ran them off. And then I talked about the two that I thought were most important for me, which were the first two standards. And I just set those two standards. And that was professionalism and accountability. Mm-hmm. And then they were in small groups. I put them in small groups in a room. I should say I was a teacher. So that is kind of my first line of attack is to just go back into the mode of being a teacher. So I put them in small groups. I gave them sticky notes. I had them develop what they thought. They put them all on big charts. We walked around the room and then we narrowed them down. That took me a day and a half. So you have to, I believe, make time for this process. And so their three are integrity, empathy and understanding, and collaboration, which are now the five. So we have five. Then I put them back in a room and we looked at examples from other counties across the country that student education has worked with. And we looked at what ways of work are, and that's what I call it is, okay, now we've got to do the how. So we all wrote those as a team. And then we put the paper on the wall again. They walked around. I left that room empty for them for 5 days. And they stuck the stickies on and they narrowed down. I learned this, of course, from Dr. Owen. We used smiley face stickers to give them their top 9. And then we narrowed from there, and that's how we started the process.
That's great. And that is that natural buy-in because they're developing themselves. It's what they think is of value. So really just good process, and people enjoy it, Kelly. That's one thing I found too. They really enjoy that development process. I think you probably found that with your team as well.
I honestly went in and if you talk to KK, she'll tell you that I called her like 4 times the day before. I'm like, I'm not sure they're going to do it. And I'm not sure they're going to. And I was amazed. I kept texting her, you would not believe how many comments are on these sticky notes. I don't even know how I'm going to narrow this down. And so, I think too, the advantage I have is you guys in my city, we're together, and that KK and we go so far back. So that helped with every bit of the process, but they seem to love it. I also didn't know about rounding when I started off, if they would enjoy that. And yesterday they really did. And I enjoyed it for the most part. You know how it is as a leader, you have to take it all. Good,
yeah,
bad.
That's right. That's right, Kelly.
We're ready for it.
Yeah, that's good. So let's talk a little bit about when the standards are developed and they're rolled out. It's important for us to show gratitude to our employees who are exhibiting those standards. So talk a little bit about what did you do to show that gratitude toward and recognize people who are living those standards?
I have 2 huge things that we do. One, I have a superhero of the month. My daughter is an artist, as you know, so she created a banner and we had that printed. And so every month we recognize a superhero of the month and we say why. It's important to have the why. I was going to have a little plaque or something made for them, but we would pass it around. And then I talked to my son. He was like, no, we have all these pop figures. Get them a pop figure. And so I do that. We have these pop superheroes and they come into my office and it's a big event. The 3 directors and I walk out with the banner. Everybody, this is what's been fun. We did it a week ago and less than a week ago. And people followed me with the banner. Like they wanted to see about it. And then she came in and she picked her superhero and then they have a picture. We post that on social media. So that's the one thing we do. And then I do a lot of thank you notes. I also pop in with Chick-fil-A gift cards sometimes. And then we also fellowship together as a team. And then in those, we also recognize success and improvement and all of that. So those are the things that we've done consistently for the last 2.5 years, I guess.
That's so good. So then let's go back up and talk about then, how has it changed your culture and with your team, Kelly? Because there are 2 things. One, it helps you hold people accountable and you can express gratitude as you do when people are living the standards, and that changes culture. So how's it helped you change the culture with your team?
I am a huge believer in a positive work environment, which is the culture. And I don't nobody likes it, but I think when you're in this seat, you feel it a little more deeply when they're talking, rumbling, when they're talking about things aren't great and I don't like it and all the stuff. So what we did was we rolled out the standards, and in the standards, they were the ones that expressed they don't like, to not be positive. And so, and they do that specifically. Help each other out. For example, if you're done with your work, step in. If you have a problem with somebody, just go talk to them. It's the stub your toe conversation that I never even had to train them on. They knew it needed to happen. I'll give you an example from last week. This is how the culture has changed. I go into the break room and one of my employees is having lunch. And in the past, she wouldn't have told me about an issue she was having that she felt like the principals don't know. The principals don't know our process, and our system is not working, which is our electronic system, and they're not seeing applicants for hiring. And one of the other people in there said, well, we just call them and tell them. And then we just ended up having that conversation in the lunchroom, which in the past, I don't think they would have talked to me about that. I don't think they would have talked to each other. They would have just complained about it. And we decided, well, what about the new principals? What about if you don't tell them? When I taught, I used to train teachers, and kids are scared of hidden rules. Kids are scared of not knowing the process and how I'm going to get in trouble if I don't know. And new principals the same way. If we haven't told them, hey, you can call HR and we can walk you through it. And better yet, what the other person that was in the lunchroom was saying, why don't we fix the problem? Why don't we call Binocular and see if we can fix the problem? And so we did that. And I don't know that would have happened 3 years ago with the culture. The other thing I'll tell you is yesterday at rounding, I asked, the last question, what can I do for you? Yeah. And one of my employees, and again, you take the good with the bad, but she said, you just keep doing all of this. And she actually said, there aren't a lot of perks in a job. When I was talking to somebody last week, I told them the perk of my job are the people I work for and the place I work, because I'm always recognized when I do good work. I mean, out of the blue, she says all this.
Wow, Kelly.
Yeah. And I always feel like people are going to listen to me. And if I have a good idea, then I'm going to get heard and it's going to happen. And she said, it just makes it great to come here. And that is something that I want all of them to feel. And they don't all feel it. I heard that too yesterday. But I definitely think we're moving toward that. And that changes that culture.
Yeah, and so good. I mean, as a leader, just so proud for you in that, because it's hard work, right, Kelly? I mean, when we think about what you're talking about, and it's very intentional in terms of leadership actions, it's hard work, but it's work that pays off. And for you, when you get that type of feedback, I know you have to go home and feel good as well. So
it was, and I'm proud of that director, because he had a situation and he dealt with it, and then he has grown so much, and that I think I'm just as impressed with as anything else. And today I actually called the superintendent, said, you're going to get a manage up for me today, because I've got a director that is just shining. So good. Yeah. And that's so good. So let's go back. You started a little bit with the survey. You did surveys and you didn't get responses to give you input, but it was so good.
Yeah. And now your employees are participating in that employee experience survey, and your department participates in the district support services survey. So now that you're getting that feedback, what impact have you seen from these two surveys since you've implemented the standards?
So I will say that the first year we blew it out of the park. We were starting at, I saw a lot of 4s, or 3.85s and that kind of thing. And this year it dropped to 3.5, 3.65, but we stayed above the 3.5 to the 3.4. And I know that you're going to have, part of it is that with all the positive also comes that I'm going to also deal with the low performer, deal with the medium performer, and that's okay. I'll take that any day. And then I've seen our district scores go up, that they're feeling like that the employees of the county are feeling like we're really working with them and being more intentional in that.
So from the input you're getting and the way your team's working with the district, you're seeing those scores go
You're
up.
right.
And then
Right.
internally, you're having to work through some of I love what you just said, Kelly, because sometimes when we begin to move the culture, we don't always see those immediate results. We're going to see some dips because there's some people who are coming with us and some people who may not be coming with us. And then that's, really where we begin to address wherever those gaps are. If we didn't collect that data, we wouldn't know that there were gaps existing, right? And the people who want to go and do the things and build that positive culture and serve others deserve for us to continue to move that forward.
Right.
Yeah, just congratulate you on looking at it. That's what the data allows us to do. Trying to get 1% better every day, but it's sometimes we gotta move the needle in a whole different way and understand it in order to do that. And that's what you're doing. So just again, appreciate your leadership and appreciate the work and the intentional work that you're doing as a leader to move that forward. So as we close with our last question, you're going to begin a new school year. And so how do you plan to remind people about this as you remind people about the standards and continue what you're doing as you move into next year?
That's a good question. So this season in public education is requiring our HR department to be more accessible, more responsive, and more thoughtful in our work.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to search for, because we are in a human resources are working 4 people down. We had to eliminate some positions this year. So we're 4 people smaller than we were 2 years ago, and we're 2 people smaller now. That's not just us. That's the schools, that's their clerical, their instructional, and the other supports we have as well. So they need us to be responsive to them. And then I have to make sure that my group feels supported and taken care of. What I have done I do a focus standard. So we're doing focus standards in July, and they are empathy and understanding and integrity, because actually the summer is our busy season in human
Yes.
resources. And
Right.
so all hands on deck. You can't just not be here and us not know you're not going to be here, because if 3 people do that, now I've got nobody to work the public, with the public. So we talked about that yesterday in rounding. I am old school and run things up for them to post in their offices. So they have that up, and we'll still do that every quarter. We are going to roll out a standard to remind them what it is. This is our year 2 in the fall to rework the standards, those things that we need to take off, those things we need to add. And I'm talking about the way of work now, not the actual standards, but I believe in doing that every 3 years, revamping and, okay, we're doing this now. Well, so let's look at what we need to add, and we'll do that as well.
Yeah. As you think about where you are, and just appreciate what you said, because there are many things that are changing across the nation, Kelly, with reduction of workforce in school districts across the nation. And, as a human resources department, you're feeling that. I mean, that it all kind of lands in your area. So there's the part of how you keep your team engaged with your own reductions, but then there are reductions throughout the district that you're having to manage. So keeping your team focused on that is more important than ever. So again, just appreciate human resources it's not an easy area to lead. And I know that you know that, and you've been doing it for quite a while now. It's not an easy area to lead. And you are an intentional leader who cares about your people and cares about the district deeply. So I just appreciate what you're doing and the intention that you put behind your own leadership. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to talk about my team.
Yes,
And what we do. As always, Janet, thank you. I mean, you have led me for years, and all the things that I wanted to do, if I ever got to. And honestly, when we started, the plan was when I become a principal, and then I ended up here, which is great. But it is so easy to do because you taught me well and your team has taught me well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And your value is one that will be memorable in the county, Kelly. So proud of you. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Those of us in education can relate to Kelly's sentiment that kids are scared of not knowing the process, of not knowing what is expected of them. But as we heard from Kelly, adults are really no different. We all want to know what is expected of us so we can live up to the expectations. Most people want to do good work, but they need to know what good work is. They need to know what it looks like. Then they will rise to the occasion and try to fulfill those expectations. How we show people what good work looks like. When people know what is expected of them, they can work toward meeting expectations and can help others do the same. This is when people get tight with behaviors, expectations, and attitudes. People live their greatest potential and with the right attitude. And workplace culture and performance are indeed strong. If your team or organization doesn't have standards of excellence, I encourage you to consider developing them. If you do have these standards, I encourage you to celebrate how they are being lived out and make sure that they are walking the halls. Then your organization might get the behaviors tight and create a great workplace environment. If you need anything or need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to me at jpilcher@studereducation.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great week, everyone.